welcome to the From Scraps to Yaps podcast. I'm so excited to have you on here. Um,
Thank you.
it's how long has it been since I last started reading your stories? Probably
Oh,
when was
I
Solstice out?
I think it was like September last year, August or
Yeah.
September.
So
Yeah.
I think that's like because I think I read all three books like once Solstice was out and I
Yeah.
smashed through the trilogy, and now you are a selling and published author of a full completed trilogy. How crazy is
Yeah. It is crazy. I don't think it like sinks in. It
that?
takes
Yeah.
a sometimes I like sit there and I'm like, oh wait, I have three books. That's
Yeah.
kind of crazy.
Exactly. And I think that's awesome because like not only is it a completed trilogy, but it gives you the confidence that like you're like an established author now and once you continue with I don't know future projects or anything like you've already got a ground like you've got that breaking point where you're like now I know what to do. Now I know what the steps are towards my career.
You would think so, but I feel like it actually like makes me more scared.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Uh, so I guess to start off with, how would you describe yourself? Tell me a little bit about yourself and where this trilogy kind of fits in with your life.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, so my name's Jude. I am a Melbourne-based author and artist. So I was doing art before I was writing, and yeah, so it's been like a big part of my little journey. I am a chronic overthinker. I'm a I'm a Pisces, so I'm very emotional. I
Mm.
cry cry at everything.
Oh, no, that just means you're an empath, and that's important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, totally. So I did actually want to write characters that were a little bit softer, which was
Yeah.
something that I think plays into
Venus.
my story and Venus and yeah. But yeah, I studied marketing. I worked in like a few different
Mm.
marketing jobs and stuff before this, but
Yeah.
I think I was always sort of looking for something more creative.
Yeah.
Um, and I've always kind of been a reader. I've read from when I was quite young and then got into it a lot again when I started like high school. I remember having like a
Yeah.
librarian that like introduced us to a bunch of books and that like
Yeah.
really spiraled it. But then as I think most teenagers do, you kind of fall out of it.
Yeah.
And you're like rebellious years. You're like, I'm not gonna read.
Yep. And
And
then you
then
rediscover those hobbies 10 years
And
later,
it's
and you're
like
like, I knew
the
my shit.
best thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the best thing ever. And now I'm like, I feel like I'm such a nerd because I like just like I don't
Yeah.
feel like many of my friends are big readers, but like it's just become my whole personality
I
now.
love that.
Yeah, so it's great. But yeah, I picked up reading again. I think when I was in uni, so when I was like
Mm.
catching the train to uni, and I started reading like Wolf Shifter books. I'm
Oh,
pretty sure it started with random ones I would find on Facebook on like
yeah.
those random apps that you have to like pay per
Oh
chapter.
my God, that worked
And
on you?
yes, it worked on
For
me.
me, it was Wattpad, but I totally get the appeal
Yeah,
because they're
the
so good
same
at the
vibe.
hooks.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So I was reading all those stories and then I was like, I need to find a Wolf Shifter romance
Yeah.
that's like a full-on book because
Mm.
these apps are driving me insane. And then I found Jamie and Eve's Wolf
Yeah.
Shadow Beast Shifters series, and I read that, fell in love with that. I think that threw me back into reading.
Mm.
And I was like, I want to write. I want to make my own worlds.
Yeah.
And I kind of just started writing. So I was writing while I was still doing other jobs, just
Mm.
on the side as a creative release. I was doing art stuff as well. Um, and yeah, eventually that writing here and there, when I just felt like it, led into actually writing a whole book, which
Yeah.
I don't think I ever thought would happen. It was like a challenge of mine that I was like, oh, I would love to like write it, but it was always it just sort of meant for me. I
Yeah.
didn't think that I would share it.
And this
I
was Supernova.
This was Supernova,
Oh my
yeah.
God, I've got that right here. How
There
gorgeous.
she is.
It
Yeah.
is a really gorgeous cover, and we'll get to
Thank
that later.
you.
But yes,
Yes.
so you started off with Supernova. That was
Yep.
the first book. Like, so I've spoken to other authors who kind of challenge themselves that to see if they can write like 100,000 words and like a
Hmm.
proper story from start to finish. So they just wrote a story, but that's not necessarily the one they published. But this was like your first. Oh, this must be
Yeah.
your baby.
It is. It literally is my
Yeah.
baby. It was like the
Yeah.
most raw thing, like
Yeah.
actually putting it out there. Like it's like your soul is just
Yeah.
being given to people to judge.
Exactly.
Um, but yeah, it was my first
Mm.
book. I wrote like, I guess, short stories and stuff
Yeah.
in school a lot. I think I remember like writing like one about like twins and stuff when I was like 15, and
Yeah.
like my teacher loved it and it was like the best compliment ever. Um,
Yeah.
but I never thought I'd write a
You
book.
never
Like
thought
it
it would
was
be like
never.
an author.
No,
Yeah.
no, like I loved it. I enjoyed it. It was definitely a creative release for me, but
Yeah.
I never thought I would write a book. And then, yeah, challenged myself to write it. And then when I had written it, I was kind of like, I was looking into indie authors
Mm.
and stuff like that and looking into the different publishing
Yeah.
um, options, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think at that time I literally was like, maybe I'll just throw it on Wattpad. Like, if
Yeah.
anybody wants to read it, they can read it. If they don't want to read it, they don't have to read it.
Yeah.
But I wrote it, so let me put it out there and see if it like touches anybody or like speaks to people or whatever.
Yeah.
And so yeah, when I started all of this, I kind of just thought I'm just gonna maybe upload it as like an indie published ebook. And that
Yeah.
was all. Like I never even expected to have a paperback. So seeing you hold
Yeah.
it is kind of
Yeah.
insane.
Oh, that's not the only one, girl. I've got you. I don't have Solstice yet because I was a bit broke because I was traveling, but it's going to be added to the collection very soon. But
So
I've got the
so
first two
fair.
and I love it. But yeah, I find that so interesting that you started off like pretty much as a writer and now today you're a published author. And I guess from your opinion, like what do you reckon is what set the difference between going from writer to an author for you?
Oh, I don't know. I think for me, I just sort of bit the bullet and did it. I knew
Yeah.
that I am a chronic overthinker. So
Yeah.
and I'm also a perfectionist. So
Mm.
I was sitting there and thinking about it for a very long time if I
Yeah.
wanted to actually publish it.
Yeah.
Um, and I knew that the more I thought about it, the more I would probably panic about it and not do it.
Yeah.
So for me, I think I watched like a few Facebook Lives or things with
Yeah.
like other authors that were indie published. So I watched one with Jamie and
Yeah.
Eve, and then I watched
She's
another
so
one.
transparent about her journey as well, which is so incredibly
Exactly.
helpful.
It was
Yeah.
so helpful. I like still have like all my notes that I like
Oh, I
took
love
down
that.
while
Yeah.
I was like watching this live. And
Yeah.
I think that kind of gave me the confidence to just sort of do it.
Mm.
Um, I think my thing for me was never to like never to stress about doing it right because I know there's so many ways to do things. And
Yeah.
I think that's maybe like it also contributes to a bit of imposter syndrome. But
Yeah. I see what you mean.
I always kind of was like, I'm just gonna do it because if I overthink it, I won't.
Mm.
And so yeah, I just kind of hit that publish button. And
Yeah.
for me, I think I do sort of see it as anybody that picks up my book is just a bonus. Like
Yeah.
obviously I would love for it to one day be like a best-selling book. That's obviously the dream.
That would be the
But
dream. Yeah.
yeah, like for me being an author is just having some people read the story, and if
Yeah.
anybody loves the characters or loves the story, it's just a bonus.
Yeah. So kind of like just having the ability to not just keep it to yourself, but put it out to those that might
Yeah,
like be attracted to a similar story and a world building. And yeah,
exactly.
that's the ship. No, that's beautiful. And I feel like we kind of glossed over the fact, but do you want to give like a short pitch or a blurb of what this series is about? Because I think the audience will definitely know it's about wolf shifters are in there somewhere, but you
Yeah,
want to try it from like more, I don't know, trilogy perspective or like the first book, however you feel comfortable.
yeah. It's so hard because it definitely like evolves as it
Yeah.
goes. But I guess I sort of my little like spiel, my
Yeah.
little pitch, which I hate doing, by the way. It's like the
Really?
scariest thing to like
Yeah.
summarize what it is.
It's hard because there's different aspects to it that you can cater to, right? And I feel like it also
Yeah,
depends on the reader. Like to some readers, I would sell it as like think Twilight mixed with Teen Wolf and Allison's story,
yeah,
and it goes haywire and there's lots of different moving elements. But to another
yeah,
person, I'll be like love triangle romance, like go like you sell it
yeah.
differently depending on how you know the person.
Definitely.
But
And I
yeah.
love hearing how other people talk about it because then
Yes,
I'm like getting
exactly.
ideas.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I sort of say it's like the Twilight Wolves and sort of divergent dauntless like
Yes. Oh
hunters
my God, true. Yeah.
mixed together in this supernatural paranormal romance.
Mm.
It's set on Earth, it's set in New York. It is, I guess, it follows a girl who's already in the world of the supernaturals,
Yeah.
but so she's exposed to it her whole life, but
Yeah.
something sort of changes that
Yeah.
and starts this journey of her becoming a knight or a supernatural
Mm.
hunter in an academy in New York City.
Yeah.
And it kind of spirals into this whole, I don't know, this,
Yeah, I get
yeah,
what you mean. The stakes are raised per book. And I think
yeah,
something that I really enjoyed about the trilogy as a whole was that the first book heavily follows a very first person narrative of Venus.
yep,
But the second book itself, it picks up on a multi POV sort of perspective. So not only like we've met so many different characters in the first book, like Celeste, Katana, River, Griffin, yeah. But in the second book, we actually see it from their perspective. We actually get to go in their heads. And I think
yeah.
that is that would be very challenging as an author. Well, I would think so. I was wondering how was your experience like kind of introducing those multi-narratives throughout the series?
Yeah. Yeah, I think the first book is very much more that paranormal romance. Like the
Yeah.
romance is a big factor about it. It's very much Venus finding her footing and learning about this new supernatural world that she's thrown into and like the realities of being in a world with wolf shifters
Yeah.
and supernatural hunters that have magical gifts and all that sort of
Mm.
stuff. So it's very raw in that it's her emotions and
Yeah.
it's her point of view, it's how she's going through it. And I think that that sets it, I kind of wanted the reader to feel like they are going through that
Yeah.
journey
And first person is
themselves.
the best way to
Yeah.
do so. Yeah.
Yeah. And like obviously I've read authors like Jamie and Eve and Tay
Yeah.
James and Leah Stone, and they
Yeah.
do that really well.
Mm.
Like you're in that character's head and you get their like snarky, overactive
Yeah.
imaginations, just like all this like inner monologue.
Yeah.
So first person for me was like a must. I wanted you to see a character that makes mistakes and doesn't have all the answers and has a lot of growth throughout a series. I wanted it to be
Yeah.
realistic in the sense of like I think we're all sort of numb to the fact that we read so much fantasy and
Mm.
magical stories that we think that we would be great in these situations.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to show what we would might actually be like,
Yeah.
like if you're put in that situation, how you might actually react on an
Yeah.
emotional level. So even that big thing that happens at the sort of start of
Yeah.
Supernova, I have so many people yell at me or be like, "Oh my God, like why is she just like run away and not talked
Yeah.
about
Why is she
things?"
reacting that way? Yeah.
Yeah, but then I'm like, I also feel like we need to be realistic
Yeah.
and not everybody would just see a dead body and be fine with it.
I agree, and I think it's also that was also a shift for me. I don't think I came up to you with like, why'd she run away? But I definitely had the thought
The
because
thought, yeah,
I know for me, I would like go to the cops. I wouldn't run away from the situation.
yeah,
I would do something about it. My immediate thought would be like, I need to
hmm
fix this in whatever capacity I can or whatever I'm
yeah,
supposed to morally do. But it comes down to like different personalities, and I think we get so
yeah,
used to seeing a very similar personality in fantasy, which
yeah,
I feel like sometimes affects the books because then you feel like you're reading the same kind of story copy paste, even though the world is so different, simply because the character is a similar personality of like stubbornness, gonna do what she
yeah.
needs to do, gonna head
The
on
the
first.
strong
Yeah.
female, yeah,
Yeah. And not everyone is strong in that like
yeah,
very obvious sense. Like some people, the
yes.
strength grows with time. Some people need to reflect in their own time. Like it comes different ways. And I really
Exactly.
appreciated that about Venus because
I'm
Venus
glad.
is not a character I was like seeing myself as, but I was seeing as
Hmm.
like my best friend. Like
I love
someone I
that.
wanted to root for and I wanted like
Yeah,
wanted her to do things, but also accepting that no, this is her journey kind of thing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
Well,
it's so
yeah, I think
sweet.
I really wanted to establish a character like that. I felt
Yeah.
like for me, I was reading a lot of fierce, strong
Yeah.
fantasy, supernatural, paranormal romance women, and
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of represent the softer girlies a little bit.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was really important for me to have that first person point of view of just
Yeah.
Venus and her story. And then at the end of Supernova, you get a little point of view from one of the boys.
Yeah.
And I actually can't remember if I established that early on or if that came later, but usually I kind of start with like the middle and the end and kind of
Mm.
work backwards. So
Yeah.
I think I did know that I wanted to show other point of views, but not to the level that it ended up being.
Yeah.
And so as I was writing Stargazer, I think as that love triangle element comes back into play at the end of
Yeah.
Supernova, I
Like love triangle reference.
yes.
Sorry, yes, go on.
No, that's it. I love it. Yeah, I kind of wanted to get let everyone see everybody's perspectives because
Yeah.
obviously, there's so many sides to every story. And I just felt like it would be more emotionally intense to be able to
Mm.
see how the boys are feeling about
Yeah.
what is going on and how they're being thrown into this love triangle, basically.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
Griffin was just like, I don't believe this is a love triangle. I'm here. This is mine. River was more of like, I understand where she is. I understand her
Yeah.
feelings.
Yeah.
Griffin was like, I don't care. So I kind of loved
Literally.
that kind of dynamic where they were so polar opposite, yet
Yeah.
Venus was heavily interested in both. Like,
Hmm.
there is that emotional element where she finds like comfort, stability, safety, and familiarity with River, but then she finds growth, power, strength, and adventure with Griffin, and trying to
Yeah.
figure out the balance doesn't mean that she loves either one of them less, but love
Yeah.
shifts, right? Like that feeling
Yeah.
can evolve in different ways, and we could see that with her. And something I really appreciated with Venus was that this girl communicates. Like this girl says what she needs to say. There was no like annoying as miscommunication or like keeping things for the sake of keeping it. Like this girl was real, and I actually really appreciated it because what that helps is like it helps. I mean, like I understand like some authors don't want that very straightforward sort of like communication style because that
Yeah.
keeps the tension
Yeah.
going. But then it also, I feel, leaves less time for the plot to develop because you're so focused on a love triangle and then somehow at the end a plot just happens and you're just like,
Yeah.
wait, what, why, what's going on? But with this, because there was not like that, like she was so real, like she was handling it like a real person would. There was so much time for the plot to develop and the mysteries to develop, and I think I was like spamming you with audio messages constantly. I'm like, I think it's this person, I think it's that person, I think this is a main villain, I think they're not in the wrong, like blah 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 blah. Like I had theories cooking, so I could enjoy both elements of it. Like I enjoyed the kind of love triangle aspect, and the love interest stuff, as well as like a mysterious plot that's kind of building and you don't really know where it's going. So I think that balance was very well achieved. But I will say it's definitely not the standard way I've noticed things go with books that I've read in a similar genre. So was
Hmm.
it something that was a bit intentional on your part, or how did that come about for you?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm really glad that the communication part was good
It
because
was
I was
so good.
very conscious of that. I
Yeah,
think I let her make a lot of mistakes in book one,
yeah,
and I wanted her to learn from that.
yeah,
So, if she didn't communicate at the start of book one, that was something that she was going to work on. And so
yeah,
we needed to see that growth in her in
yeah,
book two. And in terms of like the standard and like, the love triangle not getting resolved to the third book,
yeah,
that's probably what you're more likely to see. And I think I just didn't want to drag it. I think with a lot of the series as a whole, I wanted to try to keep people on their toes as much as possible.
yeah,
Especially because, there's elements of it that are just things that you would guess.
yeah.
Um, but I think that I find that books sometimes drag with the love triangle going on
Mm,
and on and on. And I think the miscommunication trope helps that a lot. Like
yeah,
as in, you use that to keep the tension flowing.
yeah,
But I was quite intentional where I was not wanting to follow the rules of
yeah,
any sort of writing practices, I guess. Like
yes,
I know there's right ways of doing things, and I wanted to challenge that and break that as much as possible so that readers
yeah.
could. keep stay
Absolutely.
interested, be on their toes, not
Yeah.
expect it, or maybe even think like, okay, well, she's picked someone in book two. Does that mean that someone's going to change in book three? Like, what's going to
Yeah.
happen? The fact that she has picked early, I just didn't
Yeah.
want to drag it, really. I wanted to give
Yeah.
people answers and then have the romance still playing through, but have that plot
Yeah.
come through because I knew there was a lot to come.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of the tropes side of thing, like the miscommunication trope that we see in other books and whatnot, do you feel that you felt any pressure to like conform to a trope list or something like on the lines of that for thinking like 10 steps ahead on like the marketing scale of things or going to publishing houses for, how there might be certain voices that they
Yeah.
currently promote more because that's what's selling, like thinking the business side of things. Like, do you find that that's something you had to like adhere to, or did you think that because you're indie publishing, like you can just kind of go with how you want to go?
I think I just wrote whatever
Yeah.
I wanted to write. I wrote what I wanted to see, um, which made marketing a lot harder after the
Yeah.
fact. And so even like now, like and after I had written each book, going back to try to find the tropes, I was like, what are my tropes? I don't even know
Yeah.
what they are because I didn't write it with tropes in mind.
Yeah.
I just wrote what came out of my heart, what just happened when, my fingers hit the keyboard.
Yeah.
Whatever came out. And that meant that I had to go back and actually try to analyze it and be like, okay, I think
Yeah.
there's this trope and I think there's this one.
Yeah.
I didn't look at what a publishing house would want or any of that. Even, things like my age group of like
Yeah.
the characters. Like I knew I didn't want them to be YA, but I also didn't want them to be like a full adult. I wanted them to be that new adult middle
Yeah.
ground. So a lot of what I did was just what I felt like I wanted, and I think I hope that it finds the right readers that
Yeah.
want something a little bit different that might not be in the categories that a
Yeah.
publishing house would necessarily have. I think as I write current whips at the moment, I'm thinking of tropes and I'm like,
Yeah. Because now you've got
but
the marketing experience as well, so it's definitely going to help guide a sort of
yeah,
like process. But
yeah.
speaking of the adult versus kind of YA
Hmm.
way of looking at the story. Um, like, how did you decide on the extent of how dark or gore, like what kind of elements you want to include in the story? Because, well, there's wolves. Wolves are going to be pretty messy about their kills. There's going to be some graphic stuff included. And I also think that, for example, back in the day when we were like 12, 13, and we're reading bloody Zodiac Academy, watching Vampire Diaries where hearts are being ripped out. Like that's
Yeah,
not necessarily okay anymore. There's a lot of thought gone into these things that we enjoyed as kids, but I don't
yeah,
think that like we're more sensitive around these topics to
yeah,
protect newer generations. So I think like how did you go about deciding what the extent of the the darkness in your books will be?
yeah. Well, I think I obviously wrote Supernova a while ago
Yeah.
now. It would be at least like 3, 4 years ago now, I
Yeah.
think.
You
Um,
pumped out 3 books in like 4 years, girl. That's
yeah, it
amazing.
was 3 books in 3 years,
That's
which I was,
incredible. Like,
thank
do you know
you.
there's people out there? Like, I know an author and he wrote an amazing banger indie book, 15 years. First book, 15 years of his life. And I was like, my gosh.
Yeah, I think sometimes I compare myself to those sorts of people, and I'm like, should I have put more time and effort and thought into this? Like, I don't know, but
No, I think it's more the that you wrote a story, you had a story in mind, you committed to it. It's just you accelerated
yeah,
the process of getting to the point of writing, which I
yeah,
think a lot of authors, just because of life or jobs or other things, like authorship might have not been like the dream that they started off with or
yeah,
whatever. So the story's brewing in their mind for so long, they have drafts and stuff, but they don't know where this is the direction of it. But you kind of like sat down with and you mapped it out more
yeah.
earlier than what someone else might start with. But that's still like
Yeah.
incredibly impressive because you
Thank
also
you.
design the covers, you also do the artwork, you also do the marketing. Like, 3 years. That's like, go you.
Thank you.
Should be so proud.
Oh, that's actually so nice to hear because I'm just like, I wish I could get them out quicker. But then I'm like, no,
Quicker.
you
That's amazing.
Oh, I'm glad. I
Yeah.
just have so many ideas that I want to
Yeah.
explore, and I'm like, let me try to get them all down. And
It's
it's
like that
obviously a
that muscle
process.
in your brain that's like getting used to the exercising like creativity. Once it like gets triggered, like the juices just start flowing and then you're just like, I've
Yeah,
got so many ideas that I just want to write.
yeah. You need to get
Yeah.
them down before they
Yeah,
disappear.
exactly. And I think you
Yeah.
do it because
Oh, I'm
before the
glad.
last book was out, you were already talking about like thinking about different works in process
Progress. Yeah.
progress.
Progress.
You had like Pinterest boards that you were sharing on your Instagram, so it was already
Yes.
brewing.
Yes, I
Yeah.
do. I have to like I think when I was writing Solstice, I had another like two ideas for other books
Yeah.
and I if they come to me, I'll write down like a scene or a phrase or like a little bit of
Mm,
dialogue that comes to me and then I'll like sort of push it away. But
yeah.
like it was very hard to not pick them up and just start writing them
Mm.
and to stay focused on
To kind of like
Solstice. But I was
explore
like
that. Yeah.
yeah, but I was like, no, I need to finish this. This needs to be a
Yeah.
finished trilogy, and then I can have all the freedom I want to do other things.
But I will
Um,
say that's an incredible discipline to exercise because
oh, thank you.
no, genuinely, because I've been being in like this bookstagram world, I've met so many aspiring authors and I've built so many friendships with those who are like on their first drafts of their books and whatnot. And I have met authors who or writers at this point who have so many ideas and then they explore other ones, other ones, other ones. And this is the exact same thing I said to them that I was like, if you've got an idea that's really good, you're challenging your brain to kind of continue to think in a creative manner. So
hmm
you're going to be drawing connections here and there and here and there, and it's going to be a very like it's like an influx of just ideas. Jot them
Yeah,
down, do what you need to, but you have to sit down and discipline yourself to focus on one
yeah,
thing at a time because
yeah,
it's all it does, it's going to frustrate you more and more, and that's what like pulls you behind. Just because
definitely.
you'll get frustrated that I haven't finished this and I'm working on this and this is also halfway and this is also halfway. Like you got to sit down, start, finish, then give yourself a pat on the back, and
Yeah,
then continue. But it's not an easy thing. I highly
it's
doubt
not.
that's like
No.
at all doable. But
Mm.
that's really cool that you were able to like get onto that very instantaneously.
Thank you. Yeah, it
Yeah,
is really hard. I find so I do this and my illustrating full time now.
yeah,
And so even just day to day, like picking between whether I want to illustrate or whether I want to write, and like you have
yeah,
to have a lot of discipline. Otherwise, it's
yeah.
very easy to get off track
Get
and end up
lost in the
doing other
different
things and
activities. Yeah.
end up feeling not productive. So
Mm.
you yeah, there is a level of discipline that I feel like I'm getting
Yeah.
the hang of it.
And given that the kind of stories you've written are also similar stories you've like consumed
Mhm.
previously, do you find that it's hard for you to not be influenced by those stories that seep into yours, or do you allow them to kind of take shape, or do you continue reading while you're writing? Like, what's the kind of practice that you have?
Yeah. I definitely keep reading while I'm writing. I
Yeah.
find that reading is what inspires me.
Yeah.
Obviously, lots of things inspire me, but
Yeah.
reading is the thing that I do for joy. I need it to relax.
Mm.
It's just like it's my hobby. So I
Yeah.
don't stop reading when I'm writing. If I was to do that, I'm writing all the time. So then I would just never read.
Yeah.
So I let myself be inspired, obviously. And I think that has actually shown in the progression of
Yeah.
Supernova to Solstice in terms of I was reading a lot more fantasy, romantasy stuff
Mm.
from paranormal to that. And I think that has shaped, the final book in my
Yeah.
series. And so I let it take its course, whatever that ends up
Yeah.
being. But obviously, you're not wanting to plagiarize anything.
No,
So
of course.
you've
Yeah.
just got to let yourself be inspired and like take
Yeah.
ideas and twist them and mold them and shape them to
Yeah.
your own story, your own characters,
Yeah.
and all that sort of stuff. I also didn't even
That's
answer your
awesome.
previous
What
question,
did I ask?
which was about the darkness and like
Oh
the
my God, yes.
age.
Sorry. Yeah. But no, that was a great answer. We can jump back to
Thank
the
you.
darkness. Yeah.
Um, I love that we just went on a tangent though.
Always happens.
Um, yeah, it's the best. Well, with that, I think the age group that I had decided that they were going to be about 22 to
Mm.
25. I think that just allowed me to be able to play with a little bit of the darker themes and darker nature and
Yeah.
even like tension and yearning and all
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. Like if I had, I always do question whether I want to write YA, but I feel like there is so much there that you have to be careful with. And
Yeah.
so having that new adult audience that I feel like a lot of people can still relate to
Yeah.
because you see so many people be like, oh, I'm so sick of reading about 19-year-olds. Like I'm in my
Oh,
20s.
I will say I do appreciate that they're on the 25 range because I'm like, girl, I'm
Yeah.
24 and I cannot be thirsting over 19-year-olds anymore.
Yes, exactly.
I need books
S-
with some like my age range as well that are still
Yes.
within the genres that I enjoy.
Yeah, yeah. So that was my plan with that. I
Yeah.
was like, and I questioned it a lot. And even now with my new whips, I'm questioning it again. But I've spoken to a few people that are like, no, like I really like the age range that you have been
Yeah.
writing. So I'm like, "Okay, good, I'll just kind of
That's
stick to that."
perfect. That's good to like get some feedback on as well.
Yes, it does help
Yeah.
because you're just in your head, you're sitting there at a computer all day long. You're very in your head. And so it does help to talk
Yeah.
to readers and see what they want and what they read. And
Mm.
I think that also let me figure out how dark I could go with things.
Yeah,
Like I was
definitely.
reading YA that has a lot of death and has a lot of dark themes and stuff like that. There's, so many fantasy books. Like I think that kind of
Yeah,
happens when you're reading fantasy. There's death and
exactly.
there's war and that's always going to be a part of it. And
Mm.
so I just sort of allowed myself to fall into that. But there was definitely multiple times where I would overthink it and be like, oh my God, is this like too dark? Is that too
Yeah,
traumatic? Like, where's that sort of balance?
yeah,
And I guess that's where I talk to like alpha readers and stuff and
yeah.
people that I trust and I give them early chapters and I kind
Mm.
of say, is this okay? Do you like
Yeah.
this? And I think even just like killing off characters and stuff, like
Yeah.
I see what readers are saying about other books and things, and you can't expect there to be a book about a battle between two sides and not have death. But
Yeah. It's
trying to
natural.
find
Yeah.
out how much you want to do is
Yeah.
hard. But I'm not, I know there's so many authors that are like, oh, like they love to just like make people hurt and they
Yeah, and I
enjoy
think it's
that.
the shock factor of things, but I do think that it comes down to if you're going to have a shock factor, make it intense, like make the emotional connection with the readers very good from like the get-go, from the start.
Yeah,
Don't just kill off for a shock factor at the end because
yeah,
then we're just like, why?
yeah,
What was the
yeah,
point kind of thing, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
exactly.
it,
I
it's a lot
think
of planning. Yeah.
it is a lot of planning. And I think as my books progressed, I had to plan a lot more because there was a lot more plot involved. But yeah, just picking who and what was going to happen and how dark I wanted it, I tried to just keep a balance between,
Yeah.
you know, what would be emotionally heartbreaking, I guess,
Yeah.
to a level, but there had to be like a bit of a reason behind it. And sometimes there's just people that are well, I can't think of the word, but like they just are a casualty,
Yeah.
unfortunately,
Yeah,
that
well,
that happens. And
but that's
yeah,
the kind of realness of the situation, right? Like that's
yeah,
the reality of it. If you're in war, no every unless it's a Twilight ending where it's just a dream,
yeah,
we're not gonna have that situation where everyone just walks through, like walks out, no,
yeah,
just with a band-aid or something.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But
definitely.
I also didn't want to just be killing off everybody for the sake of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
Yeah, no, that's fair. And
yeah,
going to the point of like preparing your content and marketing for your series. So you do the art, you do the marketing, of course, on Instagram, TikTok, creating the reels, creating the graphics, all of that. All like it's so much. How do you find sort of the balance between being an author and a creator? Because not it's not necessary that you need to have both like skills, like you're going to be amazing at both skills, which you actually are. But for a lot of authors out there, like some authors are just good at writing, they ain't good at marketing, they don't know that side
yeah.
of things. So how do you find that kind of balance and what are the kind of pressures that come with it?
I don't know if I have balance, but that's good that it comes across as that.
Yeah.
I find that I'm constantly like worried that I'm not making enough content. And I
Yeah.
think, especially these days, like I think in the last year, I now have a finished trilogy, and
Yeah.
sometimes I think I should be marketing it a lot more than I have been, but I think I'm trying to create a balance in terms of my personal life and
Yeah.
actually being on social media. And so I'm making content when I can, but I'm trying not to put pressure on it. There was a
Yeah.
stage where I was putting a lot of pressure on it, and I was like, I need to
Mm.
post like every day. And you're kind of screaming out into a void, and a lot of the times things don't get seen. And
Yeah.
when you put so much time and effort into sitting and making a reel
Yeah.
or um, a like a marketing promotional piece,
Yeah.
and it doesn't actually get engagement or contact, it's quite disheartening. So finding that balance is definitely hard. I think I'm also hard on myself because I have a marketing background. And so I'm like, I should
Okay,
know what I'm
interesting. Yeah.
doing,
Yeah.
but I have no idea. And like, it's
Yeah.
obviously constantly changing. Like, things that I learned in uni
Yeah.
is not how things work anymore. And social media has
Yeah, for
changed
sure.
so much.
Constantly. Yeah.
Um, and I know there's like different avenues of marketing as well for an author, but I think for me, the main ones that I just stick to is TikTok and Instagram. And I think these days I'm trying to be as real and authentic on there
What
as I
other
possibly
platforms are
can.
there other than TikTok and Instagram?
No,
I
not
feel like there
really.
are, but I just don't know.
There's not really much. Like, obviously you can do
Yeah.
podcasts, you can do blog posts, you can like
Yeah.
be in you can have a newsletter.
How
Like,
many times are you going to talk about the same book on one
y-
podcast? Like you've got to
exactly.
find creative material. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like, obviously, doing events in person is a big one.
Yeah.
And even that, for me, it was never something that I thought I would do because I didn't think I was going to have a physical book anyway. I thought I was just going to have an online
Oh, and how
ebook.
times have changed.
I know, and it's amazing. And I like every time I am at an event, I am like, oh my God, like I can't believe I'm actually here, like doing
Yeah.
this. But
That's
for me,
awesome
like
though.
it's very daunting. Like I don't like I get a lot of anxiety and like before an event. So I keep those to a minimum. And when I do
Mm.
them, I enjoy them. But like I know some authors that are doing so many, and I'm like, that's a lot, and I can't do that. So for me,
Yeah.
it's mostly just social media. Um, and yeah, balancing it is hard. I think a lot of the time for most writers, we're spending time not writing. We're spending time doing admin
Yeah.
and marketing and everything else. And so I think I am just trying to actually focus
Mm.
on the writing. And when marketing opportunities come up, when I think of a reel or
Yeah.
doing something that I can just snap a bit of content, I
Yeah.
will do it. A lot of the time, I end up with so much stuff saved on my phone. Like, my
Yeah.
TikTok drafts are insane,
Yeah.
and I don't end up doing anything with a lot of the stuff I get
Yeah. No,
because
that
then,
happens to me all the time. And
yeah,
like I find it hard to make content constantly because I'm also consuming just an absurd amount of books and then creating content on that and
yeah,
reviews on that and whatnot. But that's still easier in an essence because there's something new to do every single time.
yeah,
Like I can
yeah,
repeat the same content with the different
yeah.
book. But you can't do that because
No,
it's the
and it's
same, it's
very
always going to be the same series that you want to market. Yeah.
exactly. And you feel like you're kind of repeating yourself. But then I see so many authors that are repeating themselves, and you just, I guess, got to be consistent with it. And
Yeah.
one of those videos might find a new person. And I mean, in the end, the readers that I do have, a lot of them have come from that in the first place. So I guess
Yeah.
it does somewhat work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard.
It's hard. I know. And like the worst is like I'll put so much effort into a review, make the graphics and everything, and then
Yeah,
the video that will go off is just me like singing a song. And I'm
yeah,
just like,
yeah,
are you kidding me?
yeah. And like I said, like I'm sitting there analyzing the marketing of it. I'm looking at what other authors are doing and what's
Yeah.
performing really well. And I still like I'll make note of all these things, and then I still won't like necessarily use all the information that
Yeah.
I've gathered. And it's really hard to just know what to post and
Yeah.
to not feel like you're overselling. Like, I think that's something for
Yeah.
me that I never want to do. I don't want to feel like I'm like forcing it down people's throats.
Yeah.
My aim, I guess, is always just exposure.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
what do you think like sets apart, say, an indie published author that just kind of like skyrockets? Like you do see some like they like that you were on par and then suddenly they're just like all this readership and fellowship is come out of nowhere. and they're at a stable position with their marketing. Like, what do you think sets that apart from someone who is new to the marketing industry for indie books and they like on a similar path to me, like putting just content out there and kind of seeing
Hmm.
who authentically, organically finds it? Like, is there kind of like a formula or any magical potion that kind of sets it apart?
If there was one, I would hope that I would have figured it out.
Yeah.
I I actually have no idea. I think a lot of the time the tropes and what your book actually like the content of your book
Yeah.
does make a difference. Like if it's something that people, there's trending tropes and stories
Mm.
on TikTok that it's like a very specific type of
Yeah.
book that does sell. So I think when you have anything that is outside of that, it is really hard to find
Yeah.
the right audience. And I think having the right
Yeah.
audience is key. Like
Yeah.
I don't want just anybody reading my book. I want people that are going to enjoy reading my book, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's a huge thing with the marketing that I've noticed that to fit in like a box, um, a lot of times books will be marketed incorrectly to what the actual story is, and
Yeah.
nothing's more frustrating than that because you pick up
And
a book,
I'm so scared of that.
and you start reading it, you have like these completely different expectations to what it delivers, and it's just an
Hmm.
overall disappointing experience. And
Yeah.
the thing is that it might have been a great book if I was just advertised it correctly because I would have picked it at a time that I was wanting to read something
Ready
like
for
that.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I wasn't. And then it's like I know I'm not going to continue with the series. And you've just lost like a reader by default. But it's not even
Yeah.
like that I don't wish well on them or I don't want like success for them. It's just like it wasn't for me. But it
Yeah.
also was just the fact that it wasn't for me at that time because I was promised, I don't know, like a dark paranormal romance, and what you gave
Yeah.
me is like a fun little rom-com, but just because it had like two dark elements, it's categorized
Hmm.
under a genre that I'm expecting different things from.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that definitely, yeah, it happens.
Yeah. And it's scary because, like I said, like I think sometimes as an author, you're really close to your work and it's hard to
Mm,
like put yourself outside of that and then
yeah.
analyze it in a way to be like, okay, this is actually what, my themes and my tropes are. And you
Yeah.
see what everybody else is using to advertise.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, well, can I fit this into what,
Yeah.
is popular? So it's really hard, but like that's like such a fear of mine. I'm like, I don't want to
Yeah.
overpromise something. I don't want people to like get the wrong idea. I want them to go in with like clear expectations of what
Yeah.
they're getting.
No, I think that's important. That's a very good like conscious choice to make for sure. I think that serves well in the long term as well.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
rather have like genuine connections with
Yeah,
people
for
that
sure.
like will enjoy the book.
Yeah. And now that you have a completed trilogy out there, that world, other than I think some novellas that maybe we'll see in in near future, other than that, that world is coming to basically a close. You're satisfied with the ending. Um, Throughout the last 3 years of writing the series, did you have any moments of burnout or creativity block or mental health issues that stemming from writing or authorship, and how did you kind of tackle it to get to the end result that you are at today?
There is so much doubt, I think, in being an indie author. It
Yeah.
is insane. And especially when you do see like other books blow up and you're like,
Yeah.
should I be writing what is trending? I don't know.
Oh,
Like,
yep, yep, yep.
so there's definitely been times where I'm just like, this is so shit. Like, what am I writing? This
Yeah.
doesn't make sense, or
Oh my
like, no
God,
one's
no,
gonna
I love them,
care.
so I'm
And
glad they're out now.
okay, I'm glad. Well, it's literally, I think, the few people that I connect with that like talk to me about it and like really love the characters and
Mm,
really love the story. And like that is like the most satisfying thing
yeah.
ever. And I think that is what pushes me through. Like, I guess I've definitely had times where I've been like, nah, like, I don't think this is for me. I don't.
Yeah.
And also, like, even just like I said, like with going to events and stuff like that, I'm always
Mm,
like, do I want to do that? Like, is that for me? That's what other authors are doing. So like I feel like I have to.
yeah.
But I think I've just come to a place where I'm trying to put my mental health first.
Yeah.
And so I write because I love writing and I've
Mm,
got to just sort of stick to that. And yeah, I let those people that do love the story and do talk to me
yeah.
about it sort of get me through those moments, I guess,
Yeah.
because I'm like, they're waiting to have a finished, trilogy. Like they want answers. They want to know what's happening
Yeah,
with Griff, V, and River. And so
absolutely.
I need to do that for them. I need to just shut up and write.
Oh
And
no. But I understand how that's a factor that motivates. But I will tell you, the readers
yeah.
that do love you, like, we don't want you to put pressure on yourself. We want you to,
Oh no.
like, the best result is going to come from a place when you're feeling best about the
Yeah.
things you do. Like, if you're writing
Yeah.
out of in a place that's seeping you into further darkness, like, no one wishes that upon
Oh no,
another
of
person.
course not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, I use my writing as an escape. So
Yeah.
if I am feeling a certain way or a certain emotion or a certain mood, I guess
Yeah.
the good thing is because I write in first person as well. And at that
Yeah.
time, I was writing a character that was quite emotional.
Yeah.
It could channel that into writing those
Yeah. It was
scenes.
an
So
outlet. Yeah.
yeah. So instead of like focusing on like a scene that needed to be written, I might write something that feels more
Yeah.
reflective of what I'm going through and then sort of figure out how I could fit that into the story rather than just like not writing at all.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, it's hard and like I definitely went through a few things last year that made me postpone
Yeah.
Solstice and at that point I didn't even know if I'd be able to pick it back up again.
Yeah.
But coming back to those characters once I had taken time away actually really helped me
Yeah.
and got me through it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, like you definitely
Well,
have your
you got it to
ebbs
the
and
end.
flows.
So you should be very proud of yourself.
Yeah. Thank you.
And with the publishing journey, especially for like an indie publishing journey, do you find that there's parts of it that are romanticized, which are actually quite difficult or
Oh,
hard to navigate? Because in my head, indie publishing sounds amazing in the sense that you get all this control over and ownership over how this book is going to be presented and where it goes. But the lack of it is that you don't have a team, you don't have you're doing it all by yourself and it's all
yeah.
navigating by yourself. But yeah, are there parts that are overly romanticized and that, yeah, are just not there?
Yeah, I think that it is a very overwhelming,
Yeah.
um, I guess, career path or
Yeah.
job, whatever it is to you, hobby, whatever it is to you.
Mm.
Um, it it has a like we said earlier about like you need to be disciplined, you need
Mm.
to put on so many hats. um I think sometimes like even I see people on that do get really lucky and get so many people loving their book so early, and
Yeah.
some people even like sharing, they're being transparent and sharing how many sales they're getting and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And that's probably not the norm. Like those people I
Yeah.
think actually are doing probably a lot better than a lot of indie authors. Like
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of people probably on my level that you don't get sales all the time, and every
Yeah.
book that you do sell is like the best feeling in the world.
Yeah.
But like focusing on those numbers can be very
Yeah.
disheartening. And so you kind of, you see a lot of people that do have this like amazing success and it is like great to see and they get like a big following, but that's not always the case. So I think it's just something that you kind of have to be prepared for that and know
Yeah.
that like you're going to have some months where you do get sales and some months where you don't, and like there's no sort of control about that. Like
Yeah.
it's just it is what it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I've been doing this for years now and I still feel like it's not where I want it to be,
Yeah.
but yeah. And then like you see
It
on
grows.
Instagram it
Yeah.
grows slowly, but then
It
you see
goes,
like
it's a
people,
slow and steady growth, but it's also one of those things where it's kind of like a gamble, right? Like,
yeah,
but a gamble with no losses because you're still going up, but then for sometimes it just hits. And
yeah,
once it does, just got to catch that momentum and run with it for a
exactly.
bit
Yeah.
until it goes, and that's all you can do.
Yeah, well, I'm like, I've done the hard work now. The books are out there. They just kind of sit there and I do the marketing when I
Yeah.
need to do the marketing. And if it gets sales, it gets sales. But yeah, I do think that it probably is romanticized to a level. But obviously,
Yeah.
so is being a traditionally published. Because for me,
Yeah.
I look at that and I'm like, oh, well, wouldn't that be easy to have a whole team behind you
Yeah.
and to have a publishing house and for your books to be in bookstores and
Yeah.
Kmart and all the places where a lot of readers are going. And yeah, there's a lot behind the scenes of, reaching out to bookstores and making sure
Mm.
your book fits for that store. And just there's so much behind the scenes that you're actually doing that people probably don't think about.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
I certainly don't, but like,
yeah,
I mean, I do because I do run this
you talk
podcast
to people.
series. Yeah.
Yeah,
But not before. I don't
yeah,
think it would have been a thought process that I would have actively. So for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. That's tough, girl, but you're on the road for it. And would you say like publishing is like going through the traditional publishing out avenue is sort of the dream and goal that indie authors usually tend to have? And what's the reason for kind of not pursuing that from the get-go and kind of going with the indie route first?
Yeah. I think obviously for a lot of people it is the goal, but it's not
Yeah.
for everybody.
Yeah.
For me at the start, I think, like I said, like I wrote the story for me,
Yeah.
and I at that point had decided that I didn't want to send it to agents. I didn't want to be rejected. I didn't
Yeah.
want to have all these people telling me my story wasn't
Yeah, because it's
right for
also
a
it's the
market.
first book and you don't want to be stumped at a point where it's just growing still
Yeah,
because you still have to write every day. And this is
yeah,
something I learned from another author event I went a few days ago. And he said that he does not read negative reviews. It's not that he doesn't want what's it called feedback, like
yeah,
critical feedback and all that
yeah,
stuff. It's more so that if he reads a negative review, it doesn't matter what it is. I can't write for the day. That's just how I work. If I get negative feedback or if anything it is that it will stop me from writing for the day. So
yeah,
I'm not going to indulge in those
yeah,
that category of things. But I agree. So going to agents and rejection is part of the journey, but being kicked down at the start of the journey and losing confidence, I feel like you
yeah,
really got to find the balance between what you're able to take and what you think maybe can be happen later.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of people that are okay with that, but I know that I'm an emotional person. So
Yeah,
I know it would make me not right. It would make me question it. It would, like, all those doubts that I would have already had
yeah,
about it would have just basically been like, yeah, it's
yeah,
not, it's not right for this or whatever. So I didn't
yeah,
want anyone to change my story and
yeah,
how I wanted to write it. And that was my goal at the start. I think as I progressed, now I'm like, hey, you know
yeah.
what? If it gets picked up and they want to change it, they can change it. Like it's funny how my mindset has shifted.
Yeah, because
Um,
it's also like your story's out there.
yeah.
Nothing's going to take that away.
Yeah.
If a new version goes out with edits and changes to fit a publishing house or whatever the criteria is, and like you'll obviously be involved in that process. Like it's just giving like it's like a Pokemon evolution, right? Like
Yeah.
it just evolves.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I think I would kind of find it interesting to see what they would change.
Yeah, it's like a learning
Um,
experience almost.
exactly. Yeah. The same time, I do love being able to be in control of everything.
Yeah.
And I love being able to draw my own covers and have my own art in there. And so, like, those are big factors for me. Like, would I still be able to have that creative control? Would they still use any of my art?
Yeah.
Like, that for me is like a big part of my branding and who I am as an author.
Yeah,
And so,
exactly. For sure.
I would be worried about losing that part of my brand. And yeah, so I'm like kind of on the fence. I'm like, if it
Yeah.
happens, like I still would love one of my books one day to be traditionally published. For me, that
Yeah.
is definitely a goal, but
And
I
I
don't know if
think
it
that's
needs to be
also a
every book.
great
And
like career experience, right? Like just being seeing that side of the authorship journey as well. Like there's
mm,
so many avenues and you just gotta like it's ever growing
yeah,
kind of industry, so you never
yeah,
know. And you always want to learn. So I think that's a really
yeah.
good outlook.
But
But
also, like, everyone's
yeah.
always got rose-colored glasses. So, like,
Oh
there's
yes.
obviously elements of traditionally published
Yeah.
publishing that probably wouldn't fit for me or
Yeah.
that looks really good and is romanticized, and then when you're in it, it might not be what you expect. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
You never know. You never know what you're gonna get.
exactly.
But you just gotta I think like I always say, thinking we have control over anything is the biggest illusion that we convince ourselves of. Like we don't. And
Yeah.
you just gotta really like go with the flow. And it's so
Hmm.
hard to do, especially if we're type A and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, but that's kind of the beauty of it as well, because you just learn with the process. But speaking of the fact that you're also the artist for your book, like this is all your drawings here as well. And I've got multiple cards that I was so grateful to receive like artistry cards and whatnot of of your
My
book.
prints. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're so beautiful. Yeah, the prints, that's the
Thank
word. I was
you.
like, I can't remember what it's called. And there's so many I've got and I love them. Um, how much did, as both an author and an artist, how did the kind of visual imagination influence how you build this world and how the story flows?
I am a very visual person. So
Yeah.
think as soon as I realized I wanted to write a book, like I went and brainstormed and picked visuals and was on Pinterest and was like, this is who I'm seeing and this is what they look like.
Yeah.
And that was a very big part, even just like what St. Clair looks like, what the compound looks like.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I had a very specific visual in my head from the get-go. And so
Yeah.
I was finding things to match that so that I would be able to write those descriptions
Yeah.
the way I was seeing them in my head. Um, and I see, I guess, a lot of scenes and stuff. I see them visually, whether I'm like having a shower thought or whether I'm like listening to music while I'm driving. Like I'll see a scene, I will write it down after, and then I will sort of fit it and mold it into like, okay, I have this dot point that needs to be addressed, or like this issue. How can I
Mm,
like add that into this scene that I've like visualized?
yeah.
So a lot of the scenes are visuals first.
Yeah.
And then it's about trying to get that out of my head
Yeah.
and into words and then also into art so that other people can see those as well. But yeah, there's definitely like I think most of the scenes are visual in my head
Yeah,
first. Like,
absolutely. Did you have
yeah.
like a image for River, Griffin, and Venus like sort of in your mind before it came to life on paper?
Yeah, so I immediately went down and like wrote down what I wanted sort of each of them to look like
Yeah.
before I started writing. And yeah, I think for me, like having a female main character that was a POC was really important. Like I
Yeah.
wanted her to represent, me and people that look like me. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I wanted to make sure she had a certain look to her. And then the boys were just, I don't know, they just came. Obviously,
Yeah.
River is like Twilight Wolf vibes.
Yeah.
And so I went off that. And yeah, but I did have a very specific visual, and I think I drew a lot of those images, like the one of the three of them
Yeah.
that's in the first book. Um, I drew them very early. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do love them. Girl, they're so hot.
I'm glad.
Yeah, I
That's what we
remember like
want.
when I can't remember which image it was, but there was a photo of, oh, it was like these ones, but they're individual ones,
Yeah.
and I think like I DM'd you Rivers one, I was like, girl, look at his ass, and you were
Which
like,
was so not intentional from
I
me,
know,
but
but I was like, oh, he caked up.
that's so funny. Yeah.
As
I
a girl
mean,
who obsesses over thirst traps, what can I say?
well, I'm glad it worked.
It did, it for sure did. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, like very specific scenes. So
Yeah.
like the lake scene in Stargazer, the picnic scene, and all these scenes I ended up drawing and putting them in the book. Like I wanted every book to feel like a special edition
Yeah.
and have that art. But yeah, so many scenes were visual first and then
Yeah.
went
And the best thing
backwards.
is that, and I know I mentioned it to you, but you also told me that that was something that you had considered, that there is an author out there, Kay Moronova, who did start off as an indie artist, indie
Hmm.
author, and is the artist for her stories.
Yeah.
And now that she is traditionally published for, I think, quite a few of her books now, she's
Yeah.
still the artist for it.
It's very inspiring. I'm like, there's
It's
hope.
amazing, yeah, because it sets a sort of pathway, right? Like it's happened, so it's like I'm from law side, so I'm always like, oh, it's set the precedent, so it is possible.
Mhm.
It's not something that you have to like create from the start because you can rely on like those other authors and stuff that come
Yeah,
before us that help shape the community, help shape the
definitely.
different avenues. And I was like, that there we go. Like it exists, the pathway's there. All it comes
Yes.
down to is a lot of work and a bit of luck as well. Yeah.
Yeah. There is also a part of me though that because I just love art so much, I would love to see other artists bring it to life too, though. So I'm like,
Yes.
I'd
A
also be
collaborative effort
okay.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd also be okay to like give that up and let someone else take
Yeah.
the reins. So
There you go. That's
yeah.
the way. But yeah, no, I thought it was just really cool because you and her were the only authors I knew that were kind of doing the dual role, and were like excellent at both. So it was like,
Oh,
how
thank
do you
you.
manage? I don't know. That's a lot of creativity for one person as well, I think.
It's fun. It's all part of the journey for me. So like my process obviously to me feels like it takes a long time because I
Yeah,
have to put time aside to get all the drawings done and stuff.
yeah,
But I usually do it while I'm in the process of editing so that I sort of
yeah.
take a break, draw
Mm,
them, come back to it.
for sure. Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
it is fun. I can't imagine not doing it. So
yeah.
yeah.
And I wanted to move to your work in progress currently with a redheaded baddie. Um,
Yeah.
so what can you tell us about this world, this story, what everything, where is it at?
Yeah. So yes, I'm currently working on this new whip. I initially had three different stories that were completely unrelated,
Mm,
and one was like a vampire one was angels, and one was like an angel of death, Grim Reaper.
yeah. Oh,
And I was wondering how I was gonna like which one I was gonna pick next and all that
yeah,
sort of stuff. And then I started to create this world for my angel books. Um, and I kind of realized that I had unintentionally created three different realms, a light
yeah,
realm, a human earth realm, and then a dark realm.
yeah.
And I kind of figured out that I could just kind of slot each of those stories into that and have it as these interconnected standalones
I love
that
that.
are
Yeah,
all part of this one world. And so that's what I'm currently working on. At the moment, I
yeah.
am doing the vampire human world. Um, so yeah, that is very exciting. It's basically a human girl who is scared of blood and
Mm.
becomes a vampire. Um,
Lol.
and just yeah, dealing with that. I wanted it to be like
That's
a little
actually
bit
such an
light.
ironic
Yeah,
what's it called? Startup. I love that.
yeah. Well, I am like super squeamish and like,
Yeah,
even talking about like Vampire Diaries and stuff before and like hearts being ripped out and like
yeah.
always slicing the palm and like
Not
there's all
not for
these
you.
things. They're not for me at all. And so it was a thought that I had one day that
Yeah,
like if I was ever turned into a vampire, how the hell would I survive? Like what would I do?
yeah.
And so that
I
sparked
love these
this
sort of
thought.
meta story like setups because you really can just like have fun with it and it like develop
Yeah.
into something so cool.
Yeah, well, I've been very much enjoying writing it. I think it was a lot easier to write when I wasn't focused on it. Now I'm like, oh my God, like
Yeah,
there's a lot more to it that has to happen and it has to come along and it
yeah,
can't just be that.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so that's kind of the story. And obviously there is a love interest and he's kind of like your sad boy vampire. But
Oh, they're always
they sort
sad.
of, I know, but they find happiness in each other and
Exactly.
it's like this cute little wholesome friends to lover story.
Yeah.
And in saying that, there is also like darker elements to it. At the start, I was like wanting it to just be wholesome, and it's kind of turned a little bit dark. But
Well, and the process of becoming a vampire has a lot to do with dying.
yes, it does. There's a lot of fear and
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot going on there. So
Yeah. The
and
new
then the way
identity
I
being
have
formed, lots of acceptance, lots of letting go of the
exactly.
past. So, yeah, it's
Yeah.
natural.
And the way I have sort of interconnected this with the two other realms and stories kind of took on that darker path because we obviously do have like this underworld, darker realm with like
Yeah.
demons and stuff like that. And that is also related to the vampires. So I sort of just weaved it all together.
I'm
Um,
really excited for
but
that
yeah.
because my favorite TV show is Supernaturals. And there's a lot of episodes that kind of have a similar trajectory of vampires and demons involved.
Yay.
So that sounds so amazing.
Oh, I'm glad. Yeah, I'm excited. I hope it turns out well.
Yeah, I'm sure it will, based off like the Grey Knights trilogy. Absolutely, I'll check it
Yeah,
out.
well, I wanted them to be fun and I wanted them to be like you could read each story by
Yeah.
themselves. Because I just feel like sometimes I want standalones and there's
Mm,
so many series and it can be very overwhelming. So I just
yeah.
wanted to create books that you could just pick up and
Yeah.
read in between other books and series and
That's
stuff.
perfect. And that there is a need for that. I have like a stack of books which is just my reads that I break are the big reads.
Yeah,
Like that's
well,
that's
you
the only
need that.
purpose they have. Yeah. they're
Yeah,
like
perfect.
they're like so fun, but they're built for like a specific purpose. If I was to
Yeah,
read that when I'm like wanting something to, I don't know, make me think in a certain way, like that's not gonna, it's beats
yeah.
purpose. So I think that's a really cool way to kind of like think about writing stories as well.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Yay.
Yeah, hopefully that ticks finds its own little market of
Yeah,
readers.
for sure. Well, I'll be there. Um,
Yes.
is there before my super final difficult question, is there
Mhm.
anything else you would like for your readers to know, especially new readers that may pick up your book after learning a bit more about you and your journey?
Yeah, I guess just if you're going to read the series, just know that, like I said earlier, Venus makes mistakes. She's not perfect. And I wanted that to be a reflection of a lot of, you know, a group of people that could relate to that.
Yeah.
And so just give her a chance, let her do her thing. And the boys as well, like everyone's sort of learning and on this journey of
Yeah.
growth. Um, but yeah, just let them do their thing. Give them a chance, and hopefully, you find a character, whether it is a softer character like Venus or
Yeah.
one of our more badass characters like Katana. Like there's so many characters in the series, so I hope that people just find someone that resonates with them and makes them
Mm,
feel seen and heard, because that's kind of what I wanted out of these
yeah.
books. And yeah, that's basically it.
That's lovely. I love that. So here's for my super difficult question.
Okay,
Um,
I'm scared.
a lot of authors do watch like some of my episodes and they're like, I feel like I know what's coming. If you were to pick like one song to represent your
Ooh.
trilogy or an aspect of your book that's important to you, or even a character, what song would it be?
That's so hard
I
because
know, it is
because I
hard.
have so many different characters, right? Like Venus would have her
Yeah,
own, Griffin would have his own, River would have his own. The
yeah,
series as a whole, like books one, two, and three are so
yeah,
different,
yeah,
which is why I like do like a little playlist at the start of
yeah.
each book, because I think each book is very different. And then
I
also,
love that we're making that more common. Like what now, any book I pick up, there will be a playlist on most of them. I love that. Like
yes.
it's
Well,
so fun.
I'm glad it is fun because I'm like,
Yeah,
it takes a lot of time
it does. I'm
to
sure it
figure
does. And the
out.
best part is that once you finish the book, you can kind of live in their world for longer
Yes,
just through the
yes,
playlist. Like
yeah.
Zayden Roosin, Fourth Wing, girl, his playlist was on my top of Spotify Wrapped. I was in that man's mind for like months.
I love that so much. And like
Yeah.
for each of my books, I've sort of like, I guess, separated my playlists to be like the Knights and the Wolves, and
Yeah.
then like the Squad and the Rogues, and then I think maybe I had like one that was like Griffin and
Yeah.
River. So like everyone has their distinct voice. So I
Yeah.
don't think I could do like one. I'm sure there was probably a song when I wrote Supernova that
Yeah.
like really resonated with me, but I honestly can't remember. I could give you like an artist for each person.
Yeah, whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah. So I
I
think
do have an
Venus.
answer though, so I'll wait
Oh
for
my
you.
God.
Yeah.
Wait, yes. Okay, tell me after.
Oh, yeah. Yep. You go on. I'll have to find the name of the song anyway.
I love that because I like I said, like it's so hard to like put yourself outside of it.
Yeah.
And so hearing what other people say is great. I'm just trying to find the Griffin one. So for Venus, I feel like she's like Madison Beer, Nessa Barrett.
Oh,
It's very like
yes. Yes.
emotional. It's a
That's a
little bit
good pick. Yeah.
fairy tale. It's a bit romantic,
Yeah.
that sort of vibe. But also there's like some toughness to it, finding your strength, that sort of thing. I think River is like, I think his name is Mero. He writes like he has some
Yeah.
really beautiful, beautiful songs. And like I think that's how I picture River's voice as
Yeah.
well, if he was to like be singing. And then for Griffin, I forget his name, so I need to like double check it. Um,
I'm still finding. I have the song, but I'm still, yeah.
it's so hard. Oh, I had a lot of voila, like figure you out
Yeah.
and that sort of vibe, but also oh, there was like a specific, I think his name's Christian something. Why am I forgetting his name? He does that like, I'll let the world burn.
I let the world burn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yep. I love like how there's so many songs that have become so popular um from Bookstagram. Um
Yeah,
and it's like built a whole community. But it's
it
so cool.
has.
Yeah, and
And
I
those
have
songs are great. I love them.
it's so good because they're
There's
so
such a
like
vibe.
fierce fantasy. Like there's just so like there's got
Yes.
the escapism element. My one that is like my like most accurate song, probably for the whole series, but definitely for Supernova, is the the one called Forbidden Fruit by Tommy Profit
Oh my God,
and
I
Sam.
love that.
Yeah, that was the one, and I would say that's the one because every like you've used it on your posts a few times for the
Hmm.
series, and that's just how I associated it through the marketing before I picked up the series.
Oh my
And
God,
it was I could
yay.
always picture Venus like when I was reading the stories. I was like, that makes so much sense, like forbidden fruit, temptation, kind of like the pull between two guys who mean so
Hmm.
much to her and so much to her growth and journey. But yeah, that's the song for it. Like
I
dedicated
love
to the
that.
series.
That can be the song.
Yeah.
I'm so happy with that.
I love that. Well, I think that's all for from me for
Yeah.
interrogating you on your entire journey, but it was actually so nice to hear about your experiences because you're my first like author slash digital artist as well. And it's so cool to see someone who's balanced both of those kind of aspects of it in 3 years, girl. How? And published a full trilogy. So congratulations on being
Thank
a
you.
published and selling author of a completed series. And I can't believe you're already working a new one. So I can't wait to see where that goes.
Thank you. I'm so excited. Thank you so much. That actually, yeah, it's so I feel like I kind of just, and I'm sure a lot of authors do this, we just sort of write and then we're just like, what's next? What's next?
Yeah.
And we never like sit and like actually look at like what we've done. So it's really
Yeah.
nice to just like hear
This is
someone
like
say
such a
that.
nice, like reflective moment for you, isn't
Yeah.
it? Because a lot of the authors I speak to, like they're in the middle of their series, so this is constantly on their mind. But
Yeah.
for you, it's been like a good 6 months of, and like what's it called? Like separation from
Yeah.
being completely immersed in it constantly. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hope like you
And
enjoyed
you
that.
miss them. You miss your
Yeah,
characters and
it's
your
your little
world.
babies.
They
Yeah,
are. They really
always.
are.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for giving me your time on this episode, and
Thank you for having me.
maybe we can jump into a game episode next.
Sure. Sounds great.
Awesome.